Good morning. Today is April 14th, 2023. I'm currently almost 7 months pregnant. This is my first surrogacy journey. Um, it's been an amazing experience. It's been a lot of ups and downs. Um, I first was diagnosed with a condition called subchorionic hematoma or hemorrhage, which is an excessive amount of bleeding during the first trimester. And so I experienced my first incident when I was 8 weeks pregnant, and then again at 16 weeks pregnant, and it was a significant amount of blood. Of course, on the first time, I, of course, thought I miscarried because it was very large amount of blood, a large amount of clotting, and so my doctor didn't seem too concerned. He said take a shot of progesterone, and the bleeding did stop. And then the next day, I was able to get an ultrasound, a vaginal ultrasound, of course, because I was, not far along enough to do a traditional ultrasound. And as soon as she put the vaginal probe in, I could see the baby, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is very different, for something like that to happen. And it was nothing wrong with the baby at all. And then same thing, just came out of nowhere, week 16. I started bleeding again, and same thing, nothing was wrong with the baby. And then I didn't have anything else after that, thank God, because it's just so scary. It's unpredictable. You're paranoid, and then of course your main concern is the health of the baby. And so I'm currently 28 weeks right now. I went to the doctor this week, actually this past Tuesday, and I was considered high risk due to a condition called placenta previa as well as vasa previa. So placenta previa is where the placenta is low and is very close to your cervix. Your cervix is the opening to the birthing canal for the baby. And so if the placenta, which is, the main housing for all nutrients, blood supply, of course, the spinal cord, not the spinal cord, but the umbilical cord is attached to the placenta, which provides all the oxygen and blood flow for the fetal, heart rate, everything. So it's very significant into the health of the baby. And so if there's anything close to the cervix, that automatically puts you at high risk because you cannot deliver vaginally if the placenta is that close. Because if you think about it, if the baby is going down the birthing canal and it compromises the umbilical cord or the placenta, it's within a matter of minutes, the baby could die as well as yourself. And so they were extremely concerned about that. When I first went, they said it was less than 2 centimeters. And I was like, what in the world? Because as a surrogate, to be eligible, you have had to have a successful and, pretty much very natural, no type of complications type of delivery. And so I had my son, who's now 7, and I worked up into the day of my delivery. I had no issues whatsoever, no bleeding, no issues of anything related to placenta, amniotic fluid. Anything, any complications at all, there was none. And so I know each pregnancy is different, but it's with IVF, it is a different experience. And so I'm hit with all this stuff from these 3 different types of situations. So I talked about placenta previa, but vasa previa is where the placenta is low. And then in addition to that, the umbilical cord, the insertion site of where the umbilical cord is placed within the placenta, is also low. So that's another compromising factor that just furthers, negates you from even considering doing a natural birth. With vasa previa is more concerning because the umbilical cord is involved, and if that's cut off, it very quickly can lead to death of the baby. And so I was told, hey, you're going to go on bed rest at 32 weeks, which I was like, oh my goodness, because I'm a business owner. I'm a licensed esthetician. I have my own business. You know, it's just me. And so cutting my income or cutting anything is, you know, scary to me. And then, of course, I take care of my son. I'm divorced. And so I'm raising him. We're raising two-parent home. His father is in his life, and he does a great job of co-parenting with me. But I don't want to lose that time with my son and picking him up from school and doing stuff with him and taking care of whatever he needs. And so saying that you're going to have to go that early. And then with Vasoprevia too, you only can wait up into 36 weeks, because the larger the baby is, it can compromise that, you know, umbilical cord as well. So they want to take the baby out early, which, you know, is a concern because it's not able to naturally develop as much. And so you would be in the hospital. They would start, you know, delivering any type of steroids like prednisone or whatever is used to, you know, kind of accelerate the process of lung development for the baby to ensure that we're reducing complications because you're being induced so early. And so I'm like, Lord, this is a lot. You know, I prayed about this surrogacy journey. I said, Lord, if it's in your will for it to be done, because I was divorced, I didn't know if I was going to be able to have any more kids, because, you know, I would want to be married before I have another child. And so I said, well, I'm going to, you know, do this journey and help somebody out, because I didn't have any issues with my pregnancy. So why not be a blessing and give that back to somebody that has had a lot of complications and has decided to go this route of the surrogacy journey. And so I'm like, Lord, what is going on? I'm just going to take a step back, just continue to do what I need to do. Of course, do it safely. And I'm telling you, high risk, you go every 2 weeks for an ultrasound. I was at high risk facility. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. So I go to a clinic, a Scottsdale prenatal clinic. It's called Amami. They're excellent. All they do is high risk pregnancies. And so I was transferred over from my previous OBGYN, who was like, hey, and she was great about it, because she was like, I was about close to 20 weeks, and she's like, hey, you know, I have a sonographer. They have some imaging, but I prefer you to go to high risk because they really are detailed. They know what they're looking for. And I just appreciated, you know, using referrals and knowing when to, you know, transfer a patient to ensure that they're getting the highest quality service. I think that's not done as often as it should be. And I commend her as an OB for saying like, hey, I know what I'm talking about, but at the same time, I feel like there's somebody that specializes more in this particular area. And so I'm very happy with her. Her name is Dr. Savillo, Kristen Savillo, at Paradise Valley Women's Health. They were great. And then I was transferred over to Amami, which was high risk. I'm with Dr. McCall now, and he's awesome. But I went every 2 weeks, and I kid you not, I prayed. You know, I just continued to say, Lord, this will resolve, because the baby was still small. And so I went 2 weeks ago, and they said, hey, we got great news. Now the placenta is 5 centimeters away from your cervix. Before it was less than 2. So it's like, okay, less than 2 is no way. 5, okay, this is good, but, you know, it's still a little close. Let's see you back in 2 weeks. I come back, you know, this week, which is considered 2 weeks from then as 28 weeks now. I go in for the ultrasound. They can't find anything. I'm over 8, almost 9 centimeters away from my cervix, which means they couldn't find anything. They couldn't find any fetal heart rate, because they're trying to see the insertion side of the cord. With Vasoprevia, the cord can actually go in front of the cervix. Like the baby could be where my face is and the umbilical cord is underneath it, and then underneath my hand is the cervix. So it's just no way you can deliver and have the baby push down on the umbilical cord. That would cause all types of complications. The cord has moved away, the baby is up, and it's just nothing but God. And of course, the intended parents were just beyond elated, because the last thing I want to do is like, hey, I'm just grateful everything worked out on the first transfer. You know, we were able to keep the embryo despite everything. The baby is fine. We've done all types of testing. The baby is amazing, and she's actually ahead of schedule as far as growth, and just her heart looks amazing, brain, everything, no issues at all. And so I just want to encourage people that if you're doing surrogacy for the right reasons, I know, you know, there has to be some compensation for your time, and I'll definitely do more videos on, you know, how to determine what is practical and makes sense for you. It's still going to be individualized, but I want to give people more information on making this decision, because it shouldn't be taken lightly as far as doing this, because it is sacrificial and your life can be on the line as a surrogate. There's many complications with any pregnancy, whether it's natural or IVF. This is the closest thing to death for women. And it's very common, unfortunately, still for people to lose their life while giving another life. And it's, you know, it's amazing how that works. And I'm a firm believer that, you know, God is in control, and whatever's supposed to be is supposed to be. And this journey has been many valleys and many highs. And I'm definitely on a high right now, knowing that baby is safe. It definitely decreases my risk as delivering. I've never had a cesarean section before, and that was the rate that I was going. It would have been complicated too with the vasa previa, because depending on the location of, you know, the umbilical cord and the placenta itself, there's different ways that they would have to remove the baby. Usually they go transverse, which is horizontal across, and do the cesarean that way. But in some cases with vasa previa, they have to cut here, and then they also have to do a sagittal line up and down, depending on where the placenta and the umbilical cord is, to just further reduce the risk of, you know, any issues, any complications with the mother bleeding out. But of course, the baby, that fetal heart rate, if we compromise the blood supply in any way, it could be an issue. And so my doctor, Dr. McCoy, said if he had to do a sagittal, no matter if I did a natural birth or another IVF journey as a surrogate, it would be an automatic C-section for me if they have to do the vertical one, because I wouldn't be able to hold the baby in a natural type birth situation. So that would have changed everything. And so I just pray for everybody that has experienced vasa previa. If you have experienced vasa previa and you had to deliver early, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, please share your journey and tell us, you know, what you actually experienced. You know, at this point, they said there's no way that the placenta can go down from where it was. It's just going to keep going up as the baby continues to grow. So they basically are saying I'm no longer considered high risk, but I would like to stay with this clinic and just deliver through them because of all of the issues, or not say issues, but, you know, just complications that I've had previously. I just feel more comfortable delivering with a high risk OB already. So this is my journey as a surrogate, my first time. I am, my name again is Crystal. I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm 34 years old, and I decided to be a surrogate. This week, I'm actually 28 weeks. And I just will continue to make these videos to be informative. Surrogacy is not something that you should take lightly, and I just want to be informative of all the benefits and also, things to just look forward to, so they're not a surprise, because there isn't a lot of information on people's surrogacy journey, and each person is different. We're going to have different experiences. And so I think it's very important that us as surrogates share our journey, so that people that are considering doing this, they have something that they can reference to. And like I said, everybody is different, so it's no telling what can happen, but at least you're informed on these things and you're not totally surprised like myself was, and I'm pretty sure many other people before me have experienced as well. It's just it's a different journey, IVF is. That's all I can say. So I look forward to speaking with you guys again. Comment below if you have any questions. Like I said, if you've experienced vasa previa or placenta previa, put your experience down below and let me know how was the birthing journey for that, and any complications that you had afterwards, or just in general what you experienced after going through that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to speaking with you guys again soon. Take care. Bye, guys.